What's up, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with Tesla, SPY, Nvidia, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm also going to talk about some very important economic data that's coming out, not to mention how the charts are looking. But just know that I am not a financial planner. Take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Moomoo link. If you deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $1,000, you're guaranteed 15 in total, not to mention 8.1% APY on uninvested cash. The offer ends very soon, in just about 3 weeks from now. Anyways, now let's talk about what's happening with the market. So, as of right now, my view of the market is very simple. We've been trying to push higher, but I did give you guys a warning yesterday to be careful because the market's approaching some tough resistance. And the closer we get to resistance, you have to know that it's very, very tough to break through that. So, be very patient as we approach these levels. For today, we had initial jobless claims come out at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, not to mention jobless claims that continued. And everything was very close to expectations. Nothing was too crazy thus far. For the rest of the day, we just have Barkin from the Fed giving a speech. Then we have a couple of bill auctions at 11:30 a.m. But besides that, there's nothing else that's too crazy. I also want to call out that the market is approaching all-time highs, once again continuing to push. But like I said before, be careful at this resistance. It's getting tougher as the market goes higher, and this could cause a big shift. There was some sad news that came out for United Healthcare. Not the best of news came out, and I just wish the best for all families involved. They've lost their CEO, sadly, and they. I hope for a very, very safe transition for them to get a new one. Not the best of news. Besides that, Bitcoin surpassed 100,000. That's absolutely insane. We'll have to see how well it holds above this, though, but still, it's very, very strong nonetheless. And then besides that, Washington, D.C.'s Attorney General has sued Amazon on Wednesday, accusing the company of depriving residents in certain zip code areas. So that's some news that's coming out, not the best of news for Amazon, which makes me a little bit more concerned for it. So with that being said, one more thing I want to go over is earnings. Just know that we had TD Bank, General, and then Build-A-Bear Workshop announce their earnings. All of them are quite minor. There's nothing too serious or massive about them compared to like an Apple earnings. However, Dollar General had mixed earnings. The revenue did go up to about $10.14 billion. That's above expectations. But their overall EPS, this was a little bit below expectations, so not the best of news. So they beat on their overall revenue but missed on EPS, and their guidance was so-so. So as a result, we saw the share price just kind of flat. Anyways, that is it for all my data. Now let's just talk about some big news and what I see going on with the charts. The first one I want to talk about is Tesla. This looks quite promising in my opinion because of the fact that we are forming a nice cup and handle like structure. I think that the cup and handle could lead to a breakout if we break the resistance around that 362 area. So we'll see if Tesla breaks that. If we get a break within the next like day or two, we could be looking for a much larger pump all the way up to these new higher levels from this overall area that's been in. So there's potential in Tesla to squeeze if we get that break. So please keep that in mind. There could be a big move coming. And then also just know that it's going to depend on our levels. So I'll be talking about those at least to start things off. So if Tesla were to hypothetically lose support around this 355 area, we're looking for 351 as our main support. That's going to be where our 20 EMA happens to be. And if that fails us, there's going to be a little bit of a dip to about 347 on Tesla. So just keep that in mind. And then if we end up breaking out and we break the resistance over here at 362, we could be looking for 365 and 368 as our targets, and then we could even go much higher than that into the 370s. So it's going to be breaking out if we get that break. It is a tough resistance, so just be careful with Tesla right there. As far as SPY goes, let's call it SPY. Be a little bit careful with SPY. We pushed very nicely to about 608.5. But the problem is, and this is what I talked about yesterday, we might go a little bit higher, which is what happened during the pre-market, but we're not doing the best of jobs at holding up. Now, we could attempt to push for 608.5 again today, and we'll have to see if we break that. If we break that, we're looking for 609 and 610 as our targets. If we reject, however, if we don't hold above 607.5, we're looking for essentially 606.5 followed by 605.25. It could go either way. So just be careful at that resistance. Look for a push upon open, a small one, and we'll see if we break the all-time high or not. If we come short, we could be turning back down. We could be watching 605.25 as the main support. If that fails us, we could get all the way down to 604, then 602. So make sure you watch those levels. So look for a push to 608 in the morning. We'll have to see if we break this or not. Otherwise, there's going to be a risk of SPY turning over. So be careful, guys. It's some tough resistance. ES It's going to be testing essentially this resistance very close to about that 6100 area. If we break that, we're going to be looking for a bigger push to about 6120. And if we fail there, we're looking for the main support at 60,080, 6073, and then 6050. So we're just consolidating here. We could try to push a little bit higher, but then be careful at 6100. We'll have to see if we break that or not. So be very, very patient nonetheless. It's going to be a tough resistance, so give this the time it needs. And then at 6100, we'll see what kind of move we end up making. Off Nvidia, just know this: we have essentially 145 as our resistance. It's a little bit tougher here. If we break that, we look for 147. If we come short, we're looking for 144 as the first support, followed by 143.67. And if that fails us, we go all the way down to 141. So Nvidia has a tough resistance up here. If the whole market comes down, we will be looking for Nvidia to follow the trend and come back down to the lower 140s. But if we hold it, we could be looking for a bounce as well. It's possible that this is like an inverse head and shoulders, where this is like our head here. This is like the left shoulder, and then we could be forming like that right shoulder before we bounce again. We'll see about that, but that's just one theory. Bitcoin is doing a good job at holding up. We managed to break 100K. So just know this: we have to see how well we can try to break past 103,500. So pretty crazy for me to using the 100,000s talking about Bitcoin, but there's so much more upside potential as years go on. If we end up losing support around this 102,000 area, we're looking for a move back down to closer to 100. So just keep that in mind. Overall, we're bullish, but there is some tough resistance at 103.5 thousand. So keep that in mind. We'll have to see how it goes from there. But overall, I think that there's a range developing around 103 to 101,000. We might just consolidate unless we break the all-time high again. If we break 104,000, we're looking for 105,000. But I presume what's going to happen is we dip a little bit to the lower 102,000, then we'll see what happens with some consolidation. Um, for NQ, we're more bullish. We have to see if we could hold above 21,500. If that holds, we're looking for 21,600 as our target. If that fails us, we're looking for 21,334 as a potential target to the downside. So we'll have to see if that holds. QQQ has some tough resistance at 523.5, excuse me. If that breaks, we're looking for 524, then 525 as our targets. If it rejects here, we're looking for 520.5 as our main support. So it could try to push higher, but give this some time to develop, and then we'll see what ends up happening from here. For other factors, we have Apple. Apple has this resistance around 244, and we'll have to see what kind of reaction we get from here. Our main support is also at 242, so it's a nice range that we are in. We might try to push a little bit higher for Apple to 244, and then we'll see what kind of reaction we get from here. For the IWM, we are on a bit of a downtrend. We're looking for this 240 area as our main support. If that fails us, I'm looking for 238.5. It's looking a little bit weaker than the markets, so just keep that in mind. Coin is doing a good job at holding up. We had this 350 area as our resistance. We could attempt to touch that, but then if we reject here, look for support around 344. If that fails us, we're looking for 340. So watch that gap. That's going to be something that's worth mentioning. Amazon pumped very nicely to 220. We could try to touch it again, but this could turn a little bit to 217.5 because of the lawsuits. Meta's more bullish. We're going to be looking for an attempt to get up to 618 if we hold above 615. As long as 610 does not fail us, we still look more bullish. Microsoft is looking more bullish on a strong uptrend. We could be pushing closer to about 440, but then we'll see what kind of reaction we get from there. And last but not least, we have Google, which is on a very, very strong uptrend for 178. We'll have to see what kind of reaction we get off that as well, so it could push a little bit more. Anyways, that is it for my video, guys. I thank you all so much for listening, so please have a good rest of the day. The market may attempt to push to all-time highs again, but be careful. I'm just trying to say that resistance is getting tougher. Anyways, that's it for my video. Thank you for listening, and peace out.